Hello and welcome to Market Psychology 101, where we look for value in the markets when there's fear and are cautious when there's greed. In today's video, I'm going to be taking a look at Bitcoin mining stocks, seeing how the price across the board for those crypto assets has been holding up with this recent sell off. Because unless you've been living under a rock, you know that the stock market has been selling off big, over 20%, and the stock market is in extreme fear. Crypto market as well in extreme fear. Also, in yesterday's video about all crypto macro analysis, I talked about how the greed to fear ratio seems to be just creating more lower highs, and this bottom may not be put in yet. So that's what I'm watching for. And as far as crypto assets overall, April is the second best month. And when we've seen February and March be negative, April can be that time. April or even May, sometimes in big ways, can be that time where we see a turnaround. So subscribe if you want to hear more about macro crypto analysis. I get more into all that. Taking a quick look at Bitcoin, you can see that on the weekly, the candle body is still holding up on that 50-week moving average. So technically, it is still bullish, even though the S&P isn't, though it's having a big change right now. We'll see if that's a relief bounce for a lower high, or if this may be forming some sort of a V reversal on the daily. You can see Bitcoin, after that big drop off, came back up to around 80K. But if this does continue further down, I'd be eyeing that 70 or 69K area. We talked about yesterday how that from the low to the high, we've seen these 236 corrections before. From last March, we had a 236 correction to around 50K. And if we got that again, that would be somewhere around 69K. So just something to watch for Bitcoin. And as far as the mining stocks and other altcoins, we want to see Bitcoin dominance flip bearish. That has not happened yet. Still bullish, may be a possible topping area, or it could go further. So we will see. Anyways, let's talk about our first mining stock, and we'll talk about Marathon Digital Holdings. We did have a channel, and it's broken underneath that channel. But if we zoom in on Mara, what I do like seeing here is that even though the candle body came down further, it is holding up on that 382 macro fib. So Mara, from its most recent peak, it has come down around 63, 67%. And from its all-time high, it has come down 87%. So that's something to consider if you like any of these mining stocks. I like Mara. They own the second most amount of Bitcoin behind MicroStrategy. So I think this can be a good play when the markets finally turn around, when we start getting towards those alt season metrics. But if Mara did go lower, and we have no signs that it hasn't totally dropped yet, next area to watch would be this 236 around 670. Now, we'll show you a couple indicators I like to watch as far as if we have confirmation to the upside, because it is very important. We'll remove our moving averages right now. We'll take a look at the MACD and the stochastic RSI together, and you can see the MACD maybe, you see these lighter color bands maybe getting ready to flip. Stochastic's already bottomed out, so it is possible we are within the bottoming range. When we go over to the monthly, we can see that it hasn't quite finished bottoming out. Doesn't mean that price has to go lower, but the fact that these are both red and oversold, I'm kind of eyeing this 236. If we do see Bitcoin get to those lower levels, like I talked about, even if there's a relief rally, for a relief rally to happen, that would mean lower prices would be hit again, and then maybe we could see this finally sort of level out. That would be kind of my hope, and that we might not see April be as great as we hoped, but if this is just sort of a brief sell-off, kind of like 1998 before the dot-com bubble had a blow-off top, that's what I'd be looking for. So for the rest of these miners, we'll just throw on the moving averages, but those are two good indicators to watch for. All right, as far as Riot, let's go over to the weekly. Still within this channel and hit that 236. I bought some Riot down here myself, not telling you to do that, but this is a level I didn't want to miss. And after last or 2 cycles ago, after that 2017 peak, do note that Riot, after it had this sort of mid-cycle peak, it did put in a newer low. So I'm somewhat half expecting this. If Riot does start coming down underneath this 236 and getting to these $4 levels, it just keep this in mind as a possible thing that can happen, that we can see sort of a big downtrend. And maybe overall, if we look at this from a different perspective, let's see if I can adjust this channel here. I mean, this would suck, but something like this could maybe be possible. So right now, that isn't the case. I don't want to make you guys freak out. But if Riot's price to get worse, that would be a way to adjust that channel and something I would watch for. So right now, I do think it's on a level that if you're looking for possible dips to buy, fine. You can take a DCA, dollar cost average, gamble at it. But right now, we want to see Bitcoin and the S&P sort of show some strength. Let's look at CleanSpark. We'll take a look at a few more and then wrap it up. CleanSpark still holding that channel, did get underneath, but then came back up and held it. And you see those wicks, those are strong buys. So we have not only underneath the channel as value, but also horizontally for some price as well. But if it breaks down, gets underneath this, we have the 382 at around 590. But for CleanSpark, not a bad area to be looking for some deals. And as far as Cypher, man, this thing's just fallen. And that wick, you can see it came right down close to where this price is, at around $1.76. So still has a little bit to go there. Yeah, I'd be watching for something like this. It's broken supports. I would be watching for those confirmation signals, buy signals, on the weekly time frame before I'd even touch this. So again, for some of these, if they're just falling knives like this, I don't want to touch them. Riot, I'm willing to take a risk. Me personally, not financial advice for you, but for some of these other ones, we don't have any macro indicators to say, you know what, this is going to the upside or has better confirmation. We don't need to buy the exact bottom, but when you get confirmation, you might get it up here and still make a good amount of money. So again, I'm willing to wait for confirmation, and even if it's a little relief rally before going lower, that's fine by me, because if I like this stock that much to buy it here, I am more than happy to buy it at lower prices. And for me, I think that's the perspective and attitude you have to have for anything when you're buying it. If you don't believe in it enough, then you shouldn't buy it, because sometimes prices do go lower. Iron, this definitely broke underneath that channel, so we shall get rid of this, but it's at the 0.5. It's getting support at the 0.5. So if you like iron, possible area to take an educated gamble stab at it at around this mid to low $5 area. But you want to see that 0.5 hold up. So far, 2 weeks in a row, it is holding that 0.5. And you can see, even on the daily, nice little bounce. But we do have these lower highs. We're all the way under that 20-day moving average. Let's see what happens when it re-encounters that 20-day. Is it going to get squeezed in here and then shoot one way or the other? Me personally, that's what I'd be looking for something like iron. Any others that we should take a look at? Let's take a look at Wolf, and then we'll wrap it up there. Terra Wolf. And yeah, this one, I'll say still, I mean, that's a sharp channel right there. I hesitate to call it a channel, but still technically within it. Getting under that 382, the steepness of the channel is almost why I don't even want to consider it, but I'll just keep it on right now anyways. But you know what? There's a larger channel at play here. I don't know if you guys see it. Now that it's gotten to these much lower prices, so if we draw out these highs, I think there's a much larger channel at play here. Yeah, would you look at that? So out of one channel into another, that may be why we're seeing prices for TeraWolf get to that area. Again, losing that fib, worried about that, but we do see some buy support coming in here. So this could possibly be an area to watch for. We also have some horizontal price action to look for as well. So again, it's so far we see a bit of green. Now remember the S&P, it sold off hard. It sold off heavy within the matter of days. So there is always going to be a relief bounce, a dead cat bounce. But is that a V-shaped recovery? We got to wait and see. But right now, I would be more on the side of calling it a relief bounce until shown otherwise. So just keep an eye on what the S&P is doing. You can see it came right down near the 200-week moving average, as well as that trend line that is called bottoms in the past when you take a look at this on log scale. So if this is a dip, that'd be an area to watch for. And we are seeing some buys come in right at this August 24 low and right at that March 24 high. So if there's an area for a bounce, it'd be right here. But yeah, I'm with those big of sell-offs. I'm not willing to buy in that this is over yet. I'm waiting for a little confirmation, but if you want to take educated gambles, um, it. I understand because sometimes these V recoveries you don't want to miss them either. And if we are starting to get that confirmation, I'll be talking about that on this channel. So, anyways, thank you so much for being here and watching today, and I hope you have a fantastic Tuesday. Take care.